Hello, hello. Testing one, two, three. It is 4 p.m. UK time. If you can see and hear me okay, give me a thumbs up in the live chat. You can see the live chat just there. If you write something, it should pop up. Look, I'll do it now. Hello. See that? That was cool, right? Um, hope everyone's doing okay. Hope you can hear and see me all right. It is 4 p.m. UK time, and it is our first live session for a couple of weeks. So we've got quite a bit to cover. I think I'm still quite bright up here. For some reason, my camera won't let me control the exposure, so I feel like I'm super bright. I'm having to adjust the lighting here. Um, Bo says loud and clear. The lighting here. Bo says loud and clear. Thank you, Bo. Okay, great. That must mean we're okay then. So, yeah, first live session for a couple of weeks. This was supposed to be on Wednesday this week, and then I rearranged it. I'm sorry about that. I have been a bit under the weather. Maybe you can hear I'm still a bit kind of bunged up, and a bit nasal, or more nasally than usual. But yeah, sorry if that inconvenienced anyone. I know I didn't really give a lot of warning about that rescheduling this live session. It was supposed to be Wednesday, and pushed it to Friday instead. But I wanted to do it, even though I'm not feeling quite 100% yet. I am feeling a bit better. Wanted to do this and share some updates with you guys and just touch base because we've not seen each other in a live session for a couple of weeks. Okay, Dina's here. Let me just say hello to a few people. We got Dina, we got Bo, we got Nikki, we've got Terence, we've got Ronnie, and I think that's it so far, which is great. Now, I do know this is not the perfect time to do a live session the day after Thanksgiving for our American friends. It's quite fortunate that I didn't choose yesterday to do it because that was Thanksgiving's such a non thing over here in the UK. Obviously, we know about Thanksgiving, but I don't know when Thanksgiving is. It could have completely to bring you briefly up to date with me. So I've been away for a couple of weeks. I went to Malaga for this AI conference. I wrote an email about that last week. Not sure whether you read that, but basically it was pretty. It was nice being in Malaga, get a bit of sunshine. Uh, Came back to snow on the ground in the UK. But the conference itself was not what I was expecting. It was a lot bigger than I was expecting. And there was a lot of kind of hype about AI, and a lot of people focused on video stuff and things like that, which is fine. But I didn't see that much kind of practical stuff. I saw a lot of hype. There were some really good speakers, and that's why I went really to try and connect with a couple of these uh, particular people. But it was not. Yeah, it wasn't what I was expecting really. So I'm glad I went, but I did see a lot of hype, and I do think um, what that brought home to me is that a lot of people really get attracted to tools and new technology, often without really thinking through practical application of that. So there was a lot of that. There was a lot of here's some fancy video stuff we could do with AI, rather than uh, here's how this is actually helping people, or the business case for this or something like that. And like I wrote in my email last week, there was a couple of things. There was this particular guy who said with AI we're helping people to tell their stories. And then he showed like this video of like this it was like a trailer for like a horror film that they'd made with AI, and it was all just you know the usual AI stuff. Not very pleasant to look at and weird and stuff like that. And I just thought, this is not helping people tell their stories. If you wanted to help people tell a good story, or tell a story well, it's so little to do with the visuals on a screen, and it's so much more to do with, I don't know, human emotions and narratives and motivations and all the things that really matter for stories and what makes a good story. What you see on the screen is really just a tiny, tiny part of that, isn't it? That just kind of kept coming back to me. Anyway, all that to say, I am. I do think there's a lot of AI hype, but I think that leaves a lot of room for those of us who are a bit more practical minded to really hone in on exactly what's useful and make use of that. Kind of ignore the distractions and the fluff. And I certainly don't think that AI Armageddon is likely, and I don't think that AI is going to replace artists and designers or anything like that. Anyway, that's just setting the scene a bit. And then I came back last week, been ill for a few days, but I've been working like a dog for the past 48 hours, and I've got some exciting updates to share on Ideally. Aaron's here. Hello to you, Aaron. Hope you're doing well. I saw some update from you on Facebook, I think. Looks like you're doing good with your Facebook ads at the moment. That sounds exciting. Congratulations. And I hope everyone's making a bit of a bump in sales today. I've seen quite an increase over the past few weeks, particularly on Redbubble and TeePublic. I've not really checked Amazon. I don't check Amazon regularly, but I expect that we're beginning to get into the busy period for gift buying and that kind of thing. So that's exciting. All right, let me pull up my slides here and we will get started here because I don't want to waste anyone's time. I'm just going to, how do I do this? I'm out of practice. Share my screen. And I'm just going to mute my mic while I just, okay, so there's that. Okay, we could do it like that, and we could do it like that. Do people want the live chat on the screen? Is that important or not really bothered? I'm just going to disappear off. Oh, that kind of works. I'm just trying to get a nice looking slides here. Aaron says I'm at 500 for the day today. Awesome. That sounds good. We're going to have to obviously do like a review, get you back on to talk about the Facebook ad stuff soon. Right. I'm just going to mute myself a second while I blow my nose. Okay, all right. Okay, Ronnie said no chat. We can lose the chat. Okay, let's hide the chat. All right, let's make the screen nice and big. All right, here we go. Rick's here. Hello, Rick. I didn't see you comment before. Welcome along, Rick. Hope you're doing well. All right, so today, welcome. We've kind of done that Q&A as usual. If you've got something that you want to ask me or the group in general, or some topic that you'd like to discuss and knock around here while we're on the live, then feel free to do so. Don't wait for me to prompt you. Just go ahead and write it in the live chat at any point. We will go up to about an hour today. So we've already done about 10 minutes. So about the next 40 minutes if we need to. We don't have to go that long. If we run out of road, then we can finish early, but that's the rough plan. Extension offer. So for a lot of you, not a lot of you, but for those of you who signed up back in August/September for the 3-month Ideally offer, that is coming to an end, or your membership, your 3-month access is probably coming to an end, or perhaps even has come to an end. Although you shouldn't really be watching this if it has, but maybe just kind of slip through the cracks. So if that's you and you want to extend your Ideally access, and I think you might do, especially after what you see here today, then there is an extension offer which is available for the next, when is it? 13 hours left. Okay, not long left to get this offer. This allows you to extend for another 3 months for the same price that you paid, which was 145 for 3 months, or to do 6 months for 290. So 2 very good offers there if you want to extend your Ideally access. You can do that as a subscription, so you can lock it in so that you'll keep paying that month to month and you don't have any increases on the price, or you can just buy a flat out 3-month access or 6-month access if you want that. So that's available there. The link is, what is the link? It's ideally.app/extend. I will just paste that in the live chat in case anyone wants to make use of it. I don't want to pull the wool over anyone's eyes. I think this offer. I think I will extend this offer for a bit longer, um, so that everyone does have a chance to get it. But if you're coming to the end and you're thinking, well, I've still got like a week or two left of that access, I don't want to buy now. Don't worry about that. You can buy this, and it will just tag on to the end of your access. So no one's going to lose out. But if you do want to extend your access, this is a very good opportunity to do so. All right, you've got the link for that. Ideally updates. We'll talk about that. Survey, and then we'll talk about the next session. All right, let's go. We just covered the offer. That's fine. Ideally updates. This was actually on the wrong slide here. This was last time. Ideally updates today. Okay, let me dive into this and show you what we've got. So this is live now. This is completely live on Ideally. If you head over to generated images, you are going to see a couple of changes. So the first one is if you click the new images tab, you will see we've got something new here. We have got two buttons. One says Flux, one says ideogram or ideogram. I've taken to saying ideogram. I've heard some people say ideogram, but this is a big feature. So we have now two options when you are generating images. So you can generate with Flux, which is the default. That's what we've been using to generate images and all these visual styles and everything. Basically, all the examples you see here are Flux generated, but you now have the option to use ideogram or ideogram as well. So I'll just show you how this works. Let me, you might see a few different changes here with how things are set up as well. So let's go for Told You So, and let's say a frog in a cowboy hat, and let's go for a outdoors style and a cottagecore style and a vintage sunset style and a simple t-shirt style. And you can see here I've selected ideogram at the top. And if I hit create image, fingers crossed. So what this is doing is we are now giving you the option. Some people prefer ideogram and prefer the way they generate images and their style. It's a different AI model, basically. And so you do get different kind of results back from ideogram than you do from Flux. It's particularly strong on text. You don't get a lot of the text errors that you might be used to with Flux with ideogram. So so you can see some of these results coming through here already. This was the cottagecore style, which is pretty nice out of the box there. And yeah, so everything you've gotten used to with the existing features, so you can choose multiple styles. This is going to use the same visual style prompt. It's simply going to send it over to ideogram instead of over to Flux. So as you can see here, this is a little bit more steady with the text here. Tends to be pretty good with the text in a way that Flux sometimes kind of messes things up a little bit. And it's kind of this kind of more vector style, a bit kind of cleaner, crisp illustrations. I'm not sure why it's added some of this stuff in the background, but whatever. You can see the kind of line work here is usually a little more vectorized than Flux, which maybe tends to be a bit more detailed. So there's definitely use cases where ideogram is a stronger model in some ways, and certainly for certain use cases. And yeah, and you can use it now. You can have a play around with it. Now, just a couple of things to point out. Oh yeah, it's particularly good with like text stuff. So if we select a few of these text styles, and let's go for what should we say? Rocking around the Christmas pond. And we'll just do these text only ones without any illustrations. And what we should find is that this is stronger than Flux when it comes to handling your text and your spelling. And we'll see what comes back here. Now, while that's generating, I can point out, yeah, that's pretty good there. We've got all our spellings right. I should point out that ideogram doesn't allow us to use LoRa's. So the LoRa styles that you see here under the Flux tab, they are not available on the ideogram tab. So basically, when you select which model you want to use, whether you want to use Flux or ideogram, that's going to determine what visual styles you can use. So the LoRa's, so these ones down here, most of the ones that are trained on custom LoRa's and stuff, those are not available on ideogram, but the rest of them are. So, yep, you can see here, this is pretty nice text from the ideogram model. And the good thing about the ideogram model as well that we're using is it is not it's not more expensive. So one image generation credit, exactly the same as you're used to with the Flux model. It's just one credit. So you got 400 image credits. One ideogram image equals one Flux image. So everything's straight across the board. So you can see it's pretty strong on text stuff. Especially this has come out really well, hasn't it? I mean, you want to get rid of some of these weird shapes and stuff, but text-wise, that's very impressive. Okay. Aaron says, I plan to have another 30 designs added to the shop by January, and I can see these updates coming in very handy. Yes. Hopefully they will be, Aaron. And that leads me nicely on to, I should say as well, before I move on, you can use this as well from the ideas page. So you can select multiple of your saved ideas and use ideogram to generate the designs there. And of course, you're using the multiple styles. You can select up to 5 styles each time and generate images that way. So I'll just take a look at what these ones look like. That's pretty nice. So yeah, you can see it's really this kind of clean vector style, which does work nicely for t-shirt designs. It just kind of depends. If you want this kind of clean, sharper vector style, the ideogram model is better for that. If you want more of an illustrative, kind of rough around the edges style, then Flux might be the way to go. So hope this is you're enjoying this. That leads me on to our next big update, which has just been pushed live literally like an hour ago. And I'll show you this one in practice. So you might see there's a new little icon. It's kind of hiding right here underneath the images. So we've already got the regenerate icon that allows you to regenerate an image. You can click the reuse image and that will just prompt back up with the same details, so you can change things and have another go. And now we've got this new icon, this one here. It says upscale image, and you might be able to guess what that does. If you click it, what that's going to do is it's going to take the image here and it's going to boom, blow it up. Now you might see what just happened there when I clicked it. It tries to open it in a new window, but depending on your well, actually, yeah, if you try this and then when it pops up, it might block it. Chrome kind of blocks pop-ups sometimes by default, but you can click always allow pop-ups. And then if we just try that again with another one of these, we'll see what happens. So it's going to upscale this image, and then it should open the upscaled image in a new window. And this is the this is the new upscaled version of that image. And this is actually we can just kind of show you what the size of this is. So the actual dimensions of this image, actually, it's not. There we go. You can maybe see it right at the bottom left there. The dimension of this image are 4096 by 4096 pixels, and I'm just looking at it here in the browser, and it's only just am I able to tell that this is not a super sharp vector. So that's worked out really nicely. And you can just click, once you've upscaled an image, you can just click the little check icon underneath, and that will just open up the upscaled version for you to download. And yeah, this is a 4000. So this is always going to be like a 4000 by 4000 size image, which is going to be near perfect for use on the standard kind of t-shirt size. Obviously, you're going to want to get rid of the background or something like that in Photoshop or similar. But this is, especially with some of these ideogram images, this is really, really cool. Let me try this on an older image that maybe might give us a better impression of what we're looking at here. Let's try this one here. So vote boo no matter who. I'm going to upscale that one. So you can do this on your existing images, by the way. So any image that you've already generated, you can go and upscale it. And you can see here, in fact, I'll show you the difference here. So if you click this icon, that's your standard image. So that's the one that's generated by default. When you click that last icon right there, and then once you've upscaled, you can click that one, and that's going to show you the upscaled version. So I don't know whether you can tell the difference here, because there's not a lot in it. But this is the original, and this is the upscaled. So you can see the difference there. I'm looking both of these at kind of full size in the browser, if that makes sense. And you can see the kind of difference in quality here. It really does a great job. This upscaler that we're using is really good. And obviously, like for something like this is perfect. You know, I wouldn't even, I don't think if you're a fairly comfortable Photoshop user or something like that, then you wouldn't even really need to vectorize this image. You could just, you know, knock out the black or knock out the white and use that as the design for something simple like this, and away you go. So that's upscaling. A couple of things I need to let you know about upscaling is that it uses a credit. So same cost as for generating an image. So when you upscale something, that uses one of your image generation credits. So we don't upscale everything, of course, by default or anything like that. So you choose if you want to upscale an image. As you can see, you know, you just click the little icon, and then that will upscale it for you. Let me just try this one because this looks interesting. And so you're using a credit every time you upscale something. And what's the other thing I need to say? Okay, cool. So yeah, this is obviously not like, it's not vectorizing it. It's literally just kind of upscaling it. Obviously, you could then vectorize it yourself, depending on how your needs or your particular use case. But that is one thing I would like to briefly discuss and maybe get a bit of feedback in the comments. So um, the upscaler, I've spoken previously, and we've had it in the surveys and stuff like that, whether people want a vectorizer, an upscaler, or background remover is the other thing. The reason that I've gone with the upscaler feature first, and why I've done that, is because I think this upscaler, like personally, this does 90% of what I need. Like obviously, I'm comfortable in Photoshop and I know how to vectorize stuff anyway. So simply getting a nice big higher quality image straight from the AI is useful, and that covers like 90% use cases that I'd need it. I'm comfortable, you know, knocking out the background of something like this, and an upscaler does that really well. So yeah, this upscaler works really well. I've looked at background removal tools. They're not as good. There's usually always some artifacts and stuff laying around. So I'm not like super convinced that that's a really useful thing right now. The other thing is the vectorizer, which I do see a use case for that, and I have tried that, and I have found a model that's really quite good at vectorizing. The thing is that it creates an SVG, which is obviously a scalable graphic, and it's a vector graphic, which is great. Um, but it's not actually that much more useful, I think, than, for example, getting an upscaled image, because I'm still going to take it over into Photoshop. With a vector, you still need to knock out the background. So this is where I'm at with it. I'm basically kind of building a tool for my use case, and for me, the upscaler seems to do that. But I'd really love to hear from you. Would you like to see would you like to see a vectorizer added? Would you like to see a background remover added? Um, to what extent would you like ideally to be able to get you to, like, finished image, as it were? Um, Now, as you know, I've not really used I've not used the AI stuff to generate finished artwork. I'm usually doing something to it, whether that's changing colors or just tweaking things, and that's kind of the workflow I'd recommend. But some people are using it to generate finished images and finished artwork, and they're literally just, knocking out the backgrounds or vectorizing and stuff. And there's nothing wrong with that. I do think it's kind of fair game in many cases. There's a lot of use cases where that works, and I'm becoming more and more relaxed about that. Um, but yeah, I'm wondering whether is it useful if we oh should we be trying to get to a point where you could basically like generate an AI image and then click a button and it would download a print ready upload file or something like that? Is that something that you would want, or are you more like, I'd really just, like a decent quality version of this image or a vector, and I'm going to do the rest, and I don't need, a background remover, and I don't need a vectorizer or whatever it might be. So I've not made that an easy question to answer, but if you've got thoughts on that, please do drop them in the comment section. That would be great. Um, Aaron says, I don't care about vectorizer or background remover for the reasons you stated. Okay, cool. So Aaron's on the same page as me. Um, that's uh, that's good to know. Yeah. I think basically the use case I'm thinking is, uh, yeah, there's not. I think if I could find a background remover tool that was a lot more consistent and was really good, then that would be fine. But most of the ones I've seen, they tend to just leave some like artifacts. You're not really getting like a nice perfect crisp background remover. So I think I can just do a better job in Photoshop. Um, you know, and when I say better job, I don't mean I'm manually doing anything. I mean I'm literally just, clicking the background with the Magic Wand tool, selecting similar and cutting it out, or creating a mask, or whatever you do. That's literally it. That would be my use case for getting the background removed. And I think at some of these qualities, like some of this stuff, like I'm quite happy to take this and open it in Photoshop and knock out the background and say there's a design that's, good enough quality to print. Okay, it's not a vector. Okay, it's not 100% crisp clean lines, but it is definitely close enough. Um, Trust me, I've uploaded designs where the quality was much more questionable than this is going to be. So yeah, that's kind of how I'm thinking about it. Ronnie says she needs a vectorizer. Okay, cool. Printful does a good job of removing background. All right. Yeah, I mean there are vectorizer tools. There are background remover tools out there. Um, a lot of them free online as well, which is great. Um, but yeah, if you've got a particular use case and you're like, I'd really love it to do this, or if it did this, I could cancel this subscription or something like that. Then I'd love to hear about it, because, like I say, these are all features we can add. The vectorizer is probably, I think, a more useful one than the background remover at the moment, just because the vectorizer is pretty good, and the background removers aren't that consistent. And the vectorizer, the only thing that I don't like about the vectorizer is yes, it's a scalable SVG, so the lines are going to be super crisp and clear. But I still going to have to um, either open it in Illustrator or a vector program to actually edit it before it's print ready, because I still need to take the background out, or I'm just going to like drop it into Photoshop and then knock the background out there. So so it's not really like a huge benefit. Aaron says, I have an old non-subscription of Illustrator that has great vectorizer abilities, but the free one you shared last time seems great too. Yeah, yeah, I've just used like a cheap $5 one here on my Mac, but yeah, there's lots of vectorizer tools out there. And you can just do a search for like free vectorizer online and you'll find stuff. So it's not like it's by no means like a groundbreaking feature or something like that. I think what I'm trying to figure out is workflow wise, is it really handy to be able to vectorize right here inside Ideally and to almost, get a almost upload ready file out of here? Or is it always going to be the case that you're going to be making some tweaks anyway? So that doesn't really, confer that many benefits right now. Okay. Well, thank you guys for sharing your thoughts on that. That's the upscaler. So we've got the upscaler and we've got the new ideogram model as well. So just to reiterate, or if you've just joined us, so two new big updates that we're launching. You can now choose to use the ideogram model instead of Flux. We kind of have Flux by default, but you can choose ideogram. The visual styles are the same, except you can't use the LoRa stuff for ideogram. You can only use the non-LoRa styles. Everything else works the same. You will just have to, what you'll notice is if you select some styles on Flux, when you hit over to ideogram, you need to reselect them because, like I say, some of the styles aren't compatible with both systems. So just watch out for that. Make sure you are selecting the styles that you want. And yeah, everything else is basically the same. You just choose which model you want to use. One ideogram image generation credit is the same as one Flux image generation credit, and an upscale is the same as well. So every time you upscale an image, that uses one of your image generation credits. You have 400 a month, 400 every calendar month. So that will be resetting for everyone in 2 days' time. And here I've just upscaled this, and yeah, you need I can see a tiny little bit kind of softness here, but this is almost indistinguishable from a vector quality. And I think, yeah, I'd be very happy just knocking the background out of this, uploading it. It's really good. I finally found an upscaler that I think is good enough quality to integrate into Ideally. So, and the other good thing about this, did I show? Yeah, we did the Vote Boo one. So yeah, like this is really good. I haven't really tried it on any kind of super detailed graphics like this one here. Let's see how it does on this one. And while that's generating, it does take a couple of seconds for the upscale to generate. Wow. So that's the original, the 1000 size version, and this is the 4000 one. So it's actually, it's kind of lost a bit of the detail, a bit of the texture on this one. That's the original. This is the upscaled. But yeah, otherwise it's not really distinguishable. So again, this is the original. That's as zoomed in as I can on this one. And this is the upscaled version. So yeah, this is I mean, think about where we are with AI. We are what, a year and a few months ago was when like DALI 3 came out, and now we're here. We're getting like 4,000 by 4,000 quality artwork. That's, I think, pretty much, usable. Pretty pretty incredible stuff. Um, so yeah, have a play around with it. Like I say, everyone's got access to this right now. Just refresh, ideally, if you don't see the options right there, and yeah, have a play and let me know what you think. Okay, a couple of questions here. Terence says, "How many characters can go in the subject line? Is the prompt comparable to what you could do in Midjourney or DALI?" So in the subject line here, so I'll give an example here. Just to show you, like a frog wearing a cowboy hat. Like, yeah, you can absolutely add more information in there. You can play around with even trying to add like background details and stuff. You might get mixed results on that kind of thing. But let's say toad so, and let's say a frog, a bear, and a sloth um, having a party. I don't know. Let's give it something to really kind of challenge it. So let's go here with Flux, and we'll go simple t-shirt design and two-tone t-shirt. I think it's going to struggle with that one, but let's see. And let's use screen print, and let's use simple cartoon. Okay, so you should see here as well, you've got like a little, I don't know whether you can see this here, but you got a little counter here that shows you how many of your styles you've used. So I'm using 4 of these 5. So let's try that one with Flux, and see what you get back. So what you'll find is with any AI image generator, actually, um, let's not. Oh, did I do this with Ideogram? Yeah, I must have selected Ideogram instead of Flux. Okay. So that's not done too badly there. Although, what did I say? A bear? I said a frog, a bear, and a sloth. Okay. Um, so yeah. So you can add in different subjects, and you can, you know, give it different stuff to play with. Um, we seem to have lost the. Oh, we kind of merged the bear and the sloth in this one. um, and we seem to have lost the. Yeah, you can see it's kind of messed up a little bit here. So this is. Oh, and there's the cartoony one. Okay, so not bad. Let me try this with. Oh, that was with Ideogram. Let me try it with Flux. So we had. What did we try? The simple T-shirt style. That one, and I can't remember what I've done now. Let's go for that. Okay. But yeah, basically, what I'm showing you is that you experiment with the different models and you see different results depending on the models. So they have different like visual defaults. So you can see here, this is a kind of standard T-shirt one. Whoops, with Flux. So yeah, a bit weird on the illustrations. So I think I found the more you give it stuff is that it probably can't find like default stuff for, is when it tends to get more confused. So if you say something like a frog or a pumpkin or a ghost, or even simple stuff like a frog wearing a hat or a ghost wearing sunglasses, it's going to do pretty well with that. It's when you start asking for really custom stuff that it probably hasn't seen before, like you say a frog on a skateboard holding a frying pan, that it's going to get worse and worse at the actual illustration side. The other thing is with Flux, especially with these Lauras, um, there's a real trade-off between like accuracy of prompt and the style, and that's kind of like this lever thing. It's kind of like you can have it really close to the style that you want it to do, and you give up some of the accuracy of generating the illustration that you want, or you can lean it the other way where it's going to be more accurate at producing an illustration of a bear, a sloth, and a thing, but it's going to lose quite a bit of the style that you wanted. And you can see that here in these, like this one's kind of messed up because it's it's trying to balance that style with the prompt, and that's where you get weird results. This one's really cool, like style wise, but again, you can see how the illustration's a bit weaker. This one seems to have done a pretty good job actually of balancing them, but yeah, there's kind of that constant trade off between them. So all that to say, yeah, just kind of have a play around. I do think one of the next features we can add, and I'll talk about that in a second, would be the ability for you to simply write in a prompt from scratch, which obviously we don't have right now. Right now, you need to give a title and a subject, and then you choose a style, and that's kind of by default. That's to make ideally really easy to use and to simplify the process. But I do realize that for some people, they want to write in a custom prompt and get it, maybe hang up their ideogram subscription or whatever, and just use ideally. So we will be adding that. Um, Okay, hope that helped you, Terence, in the answer to that question. Aaron says, I have a couple in this full vintage magazine style that I simply don't have the skills to recreate. This upscale is going to help so much. Awesome. Yeah. Which one is that? Is that this one or yeah, this kind of like yeah, there's definitely like a few other styles where the illustration quality is really good or the representation is really good, but yeah, making it a usable size and a scale is difficult. So yeah, this ability to do this kind of thing um is yeah, I think it's a game changer. I think it's really useful, much more useful than just knocking out the background or something like that. um Terence says viewing distance on a shirt will normally be a few feet. I wonder if vectorizing is even necessary. Yeah, that's a great point. In a lot of cases it's not, and I typically don't. I don't create my designs in vector stuff. The only case where I'd kind of use vectors is if I've got an illustration and I just want to vectorize it, perhaps to just increase it without losing the quality or something like that. But obviously, if you're like a lot of my designs, I would hand draw them in Procreate or um, in Photoshop, and they would be pixelated. They would be a pixel illustration, and then I would just that would be used for the illustration. So it's not necessary to vectorize. And yeah, I definitely think um like 4000 by 4000, if you knock out the background on that, even if you have to then stretch it a little bit on your canvas, just to fill that 4500 width thing, um it is absolutely still going to be, no one's going to notice that on the actual print. No chance. It's going to be indistinguishable. So yeah, I think people get a bit too caught up in, oh, it's not, I had to stretch, it's going to be a little bit pixelated or da, 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 that doesn't matter. I think as long as you've got, I agree that like if you knock out the background on like on 1,000 pixel image, and then you stretch that 1,000 pixel image to 4,000 pixels or 4,500, yeah, that's going to look a bit crap when it comes out printed. Mainly because there's going to be like artifacts and stuff around it and things like that. But if you start with a 4,000 pixel size and then you knock out the background, you're going to have very few artifacts, and yeah, the print's not going to display that, I think. So yeah, hope that helps. Okay. I had a couple of things I wanted to add here. I think actually this is a good place to move on. Just a question here from Terence. Is there any AI tool that can help us pick color palettes? I would like to be able to specify simple 3 or 4 color combinations. Um, so so there's a couple of ways of answering that actually. So you can prompt the AI with colors. And I've seen examples of that, and it's something we could incorporate into. Ideally, we could have some kind of setting that says, use this color palette, or even has like pre-made color palettes and stuff like that. So that's something we could experiment with. Um, in terms of tools, I think most of the like vector programs like Illustrator and stuff these days, they do allow you to kind of very quickly like change the palette, and just because it's a vector thing, that's an easy thing to do, where you just, you're replacing all the reds with blues or whatever, and there's tools for doing that. Um, the other one, which I can't show you here on screen because don't have it on this computer, but or don't have the account on this computer. Uh, the actual tools we're using, the AI that we're using for the upscaler, is a tool called Recraft, and they just launched this model like a few weeks ago. That's the reason I'm using it. It's the best like upscaler I've seen, and this is they also have like an online version. So if you go to recraft.ai, I'm not going to be able to do it here, but they also have a vectorizer, which is probably the vectorizer that we will end up using in ideally. And if you upload an image to Recraft, you can vectorize it, and then they have like a color palette thing which you can just kind of click through, or you can like um, adjust the number of the colors in the vector and stuff like that, which is pretty fun. Unfortunately, I can't log in and show you it, but that might be worth checking out. Recraft.ai if you're interested in kind of manipulating color palettes on the fly like that. Okay, hope that helps, Terence. Oh, Aaron says he loves Recraft. Yeah, yeah, it's proven itself one of the best new tools. I think one of the best new AI models. They're also the ones behind like there's, I think I mentioned a few weeks ago, like a default vector model, AI model that generates vectors or SVGs out of the box. That's kind of early days for that, but that's from Recraft as well. So yeah, they're a really good, or they're certainly making swift progress with some of their tools. So yeah. Ronnie says Barbie Pink and Pink Christmas are popular right now. Would be nice to get that specific. Okay, so yeah, so probably what we need is some kind of like custom option or setting here, advanced settings, where you could say, I want this style and I want to use this color, like Barbie pink, or or something like that, or even like a color picker or something like that. I can't say that I've played around extensively with AI and tried to like. I think I've seen some models or some tools that like allow you to specify like the hex code, the exact color that you want it to use. I don't know how good that is and how consistent that is, but we can certainly add that to the list of things to explore and play around with. Okay. I'm just going to mute myself while I blow my nose here, and then I'll come back and we'll talk about the survey for December before we wrap it up. Okay, 2 seconds. Okay. Where was I? I've lost my slides. Darn it. Here we go. In fact, I don't need the slides. I know where I'm going. I'm going over here to the survey. All right. Coming at you in the comments. Here's a survey for December, the first week of December. So rather than just say, here's a December survey, we normally do a survey every month. I've decided the past 2 days or 3 days, I've got, basically from a standing start, we've managed to add the ideogram integration and the upscaler all in the space of about 48 hours. I'm thinking it's near the end of the year. Let's just go absolutely crazy. I'm going to work like a dog from now until December 24th. Rather than do a survey for the whole month, let's do one every week, and let's see if I can push me, Michael, because it's me actually making these coding updates. Let's see how much we can accomplish in the next 4 weeks. So this is the first survey for December, the first week. So I've kind of limited the questions and the answers here. There's only 2 questions. Next week, Michael should So this is the first week of December. What should I get done? So you tell me which of these features we should add. Should I add the ability for you to add a custom prompt? So you can type in any prompt you like rather than using our set styles. So that means, like you might do in DALL-E or Midjourney or any of these other tools, you actually come into Ideally and you just maybe we have a tab here that says custom prompt. And instead of having to write just the text and the subject, you could write a full paragraph, or who knows how much you could write, more than a paragraph, describing the image that you want to generate. And you could just do that inside Ideally right here. So if that's something that you want, that's the first one. Should I add the vectorizer to vectorize generated images? So that would be very similar to the upscaler tool that we've added. So like the upscaler tool, you would click an icon, it would whir around for a bit, and then it would kick over to a file, but the file there would be an SVG rather than a PNG, and you could download that SVG. Just to clarify, that SVG would not be layered. It's not like a layered Illustrator file. It's literally it's almost like a flat vector, if that makes sense. So it is a vector, it's scalable, but it's not like you can open that SVG and just like take out the background with one click. It's like, you still have to like do things with it. But we can add a vectorizer. I'm pretty confident we could do that relatively straightforwardly as well. And the vectorizer would cost the same as an upscale in terms of credit usage. Do you want the background remover, even if it isn't perfect? So there is a background remover API tool we can add in as well. It's not as good as some of this stuff, but if that's something you want, please check that box. Would you like me to do next week? Would you like me to add the ability to favorite styles? So here in Ideally, we have our styles, but they're actually ordered from oldest to newest at the moment. Would you like to have the ability to favorite styles so that your favorites appear right here at the top, and makes it a bit easier and quicker for you to quickly generate ideas out of the box? If that's something you like, tick that box. I think you can select. Oh, you can only select 3 of these just to try and help me zero in on the ones that people want the most. So just be aware of that. Would you like the ability to add your own custom visual styles? So what that would mean is you would come here and you would have a little button that's a little plus icon. You click that, and you could basically write a prompt, and you could include in that prompt a little variable for the text and a little variable for the subject, and you could add a little thumbnail, and then your custom style would appear here, and you can use that repeatedly to generate images going forwards. It would be like your own custom thing. So maybe there's a style that you could prompt the AI to do that we don't have featured here, and you'd like to do that. That's that option there. We are currently using the cheaper ideogram model. As you can see, it's pretty good. Like I think it's really good. We can integrate a better ideogram model, which is probably going to be better quality on the illustration and that kind of thing. It's probably going to be a bit slower to generate images, and it is going to use more of your image credits. So it won't be 1 credit for 1 image. If you use the better ideogram model, and of course this can be like optional, you can choose between them, you would have to pay at least, I think, 2.5 image credits for 1 image. So it's more expensive to use that model. But if that's something that you'd like to do, if that's like a priority, like, oh yeah, this is cool, but it would be great if the quality was a bit better, and I'm willing to pay 2 of my image credits or 2.5 of my image credits every time I generate a more high quality ideogram one, then please check that box. There's also a better Flux model, and again, if that's something that's important to you, or you're like, oh yeah, I'd like to see that, then you can check that. And then finally, more control over models. So we talked a little bit about here colors. There are other things we can control. Like currently, we just allow you to generate a square image, a 1x1 image, but the models now can do like 3x4 or 16x9, and we can allow you to change that, or we could add that feature. Some of these advanced settings, basically. So what I'm envisioning this would look like would be maybe like a little tab that's like advanced settings here, and that might be a field where you can specify background elements. And somewhere to specify colors, maybe somewhere to say, I want the LoRa control to be more on the accuracy side versus more on the style side, and you can change and play around with things like that. So basically, just more control, fine tuning your own kind of output of the model. If that's something you'd like, and that's a priority, then check that one. All right. If there's anything I've not included there, then please answer it here with the long answer text. That's the only other question. What else would you like to see added, improved, or fixed? And you can add your name and email if you want to. You don't have to, but if you want to, you can add it there. All right. That's the Ideally survey, first week of December. And obviously, I'll email this out as well. But if you can get your answers in sooner rather than later, it means that when I hit my desk on Monday, I can be like, right, these are the 3 most popular things that people want me to do this week. So I'm going to do those in order of popularity. And we'll just see how much I can get done between, like I say, now and 24th of December. As I'm kind of in a bit of a, all right, we can do this. I can code this stuff. Let's go. Let's get these features out there. Let's make Ideally, as good as it can be. Let's keep improving it and making it more useful for people. So hope that is clear. That's our survey for December. We got 3 minutes left. So if you've got a question, comment, anything you want to add before we wrap it up, now's a good time to start thinking about it. Our next session, I'm penciling this in for Tuesday, the 10th of December. So I don't think we'll do a session next week. I'll focus next week on adding new features and doing some promotion and marketing. I haven't done a Black Friday special or anything like that, so I might try and get something out the door next week for people. But obviously, for Ideally, you do have that ability to extend your access right now at ideally.app/extend. So yeah, pencil in a week on Tuesday, the 10th, and then I think we'll do the 10th and the 17th will be our 2 live sessions for December. So hopefully by the 10th, God willing, we will have quite a few features to announce then, and same on the 17th as well. If we keep shipping like we are right now, that's the plan. All right. Aaron says, I have a design generated by Ideally that I don't have the skill to recreate, but I think the upscaler is going to let me make the product live. Awesome. Yeah, that's what we want. That's it. It's kind of just that bridging that gap between, I've been testing this stuff, working on this stuff the past few days. And one of the things that I realize is, when you have an idea, when you have a phrase or a funny saying and you're like, oh yeah, I'm going to match that with a picture of this or a frog or whatever it might be. And it's in your head. It's nothing, isn't it? It's literally like the fuzziest of fuzzy ideas. And then you just use this and you just get and to get something that's like, almost upload ready is incredible. Like just the visualization of it is such a massive gap, because having that, seed of an idea, to go from that to actual working visual, regardless of the size of that visual or the quality of that visual, is a massive jump. Incredible, like productivity jump for getting ideas out the door. So yeah, being able to go from that to the final third of like, now it's not just a low quality image that we can't really do anything with, and we have to redraw it and we have to start from scratch and and all this painful stuff, to actually now we've got an image that's super high quality that is almost print ready, and we just need to knock out the background or whatever it might be. Yeah, I think that's kind of like the final frontier for some of this stuff. The quality is really good. Of this upscaler, I mean, the quality is really great. So I'm glad to hear that, Aaron. Thanks for sharing that. Just to reiterate, ideally.app/extend if you want to extend your access. Thank you for joining me today, everyone who has. Rick says, thanks, Michael. Hope you're feeling better soon. Thank you, Rick. I think I'm on the mend. I think I'm over the worst of it. I'm just still a bit bunged up, but yeah, I think I'll be better. Maybe I need to get ill every week or so I can work as effectively as I have, because I've just been like hunched over the laptop. Anyway, thank you guys for joining me today. Hope you got something out of it. I don't think there's anything else I need to share. Oh, Greg say, hey, Greg. Bo says, thanks for the great updates on session, Michael. Thank you, Bo. All right, guys. Yeah, have a play around with those updates. Let me know if there's any issues with those. Obviously, if you got bugs or feedback or anything, you can use the feedback button on the sidebar there, or you can just email me, michael@michaelessick.com. And yeah, I'll talk to you soon. We'll do our next live session on the 10th. But please do fill in the survey. You've got the link there. And yeah, I'll talk to you soon. All right, guys. Thanks a lot. Have a great weekend.